Rob and Chuck on the ETC Sports Network. I'm Rob Moorhead. He's Chuck Thomas. And we're excited to be bringing you the first edition of our new high school sports show here on the ETC Sports Network. Can you believe, Chuck, they flew us all the way to Chicago to our palatial studio surroundings that you can see down on Waveland Avenue, right across from Wrigley Field where the World Series is going on. But, Chuck, we're not concerned about that tonight. We're concerned about high school football, and we want to talk about high school sports in general. So, Chuck, you and I have done this before. We hosted a radio show back in the day. Did you ever think they'd put us on TV?
No, absolutely not. And by the way, it is true. It does put weight on you. You're heavy. Personally, I've gained 200 pounds because of TV, but I didn't know it made your hair thin.
Oh, we're going to go there. We're going to go there on the first episode. Sorry. Right out of the gate, we're making bald jokes.
Sorry.
Hey, Scott Van Pelt can do it. I can do it. Let's go. Let's talk high school sports. We're going to immediately start with a state championship in the making this weekend. Oldenburg Academy's Kurt Eckstein will be running for a state championship in high school cross country. Coach Thomas, Kurt was the Shelbyville semi-state champion. He ran an outstanding time of 14 minutes and 35 seconds this past Saturday. How about Kurt Eckstein?
That's amazing. And people that don't know about cross country, it takes a lot. I mean, it is you work and work, you run and you run. As a group, they support each other. It's amazing how, if the opponent runs the best time ever, his best time, other people will congratulate him and really mean it because they know what their opponents are going through as well.
Well, Chuck, you had a son that ran cross country, so you got to see this up close. And, whether you go to a 5K race on a Saturday or go to a high school cross country event, Chuck's right. These guys cheer one another on. They support each other. And Chuck and I want to say to Kurt Eckstein that all of Southeast Indiana will be behind you this weekend as you travel to Terre Haute for the state championship. Good luck, Kurt. We wish you nothing but the best. Chuck, let's switch gears because this past week were volleyball sectionals around Southeast Indiana. And we're going to start and talk about my very own South Ripley Lady Raiders. The Lady Raiders were the sectional championships, and they were the sectional champions, I should say, in Class 2A over at North Decatur. And here you see them playing in the championship match against the Southwestern Lady Rebels.
Yeah, and Rob, we were talking before. This was a revenge match of some sort. Southwestern won the conference, correct?
They did indeed. They knocked South Ripley off at home in a 5-set match earlier in the year, and Southwestern went on to win the conference. But the Lady Raiders had revenge in their minds over at North Decatur, and they got the job done. There you see a block by Tori Tucker at the net. This was an outstanding matchup, Chuck. It went 4 games, and really the third game is a classic. It went 33-31. Each team split the first 2 games, Southwestern taking game 1, South Ripley taking game 2. That game 3 was a 33-31 classic. South Ripley pulling out in that one. South Ripley went on to take game 4. We're going to see the last play for the sectional championship right here for Coach Robin Grivey's Lady Raiders. The Raiders will get this one back across the net, and Southwestern is unable to return it. The celebration ensues right here as the Raiders realize they are the sectional champs. They walk to the sideline here. Gary Cook, the AD at North Decatur, presenting the sectional championship trophy. Let me say this, Chuck. The Raiders went on to Paoli in the regional on Tuesday night. They were defeated by Paoli, but an outstanding season for the Lady Raiders.
Did you notice that moment where they didn't really realize it? I mean, they won, and I mean, it was that instant where they went, hey, we did it,
And you know what? As you and I can both look back on, that's what high school sports are all about, that moment when you realize you win a championship. Well, Chuck, let's talk a little bit more about more volleyball. Another sectional champion here in Southeast Indiana, the Lawrenceburg Lady Tigers. Now, we're going to get to this match on your screen in a few minutes. We're going to talk about Columbus East and the East Central Sectional. But first, let's talk about the Lawrenceburg Lady Tigers. Under the direction of Coach Stacy Kaniga, they got themselves a sectional championship this past week.
And it's the third one, too. 3 in a row for the Tigers. They did a great job. Amazing. 3 sectionals in a row. I don't care what sport you're playing. That's pretty impressive.
And Chuck, I think folks saw that here on the ETC Sports Network, beat Batesville in the final game.
They beat Batesville and Greensburg. Now Lawrenceburg during the season had split.
Okay.
So these were closely real close encounters, but they were able to come through and win that. Unfortunately, they went to play Providence, who has been their nemesis the last couple years. Providence ranked second in the state. They're pretty good. And so they got beat in the regional. But what a great season. And 3 sectionals in a row, I'll take it anytime.
I agree.
You agree?
Congratulations to the Lawrenceburg Lady Tigers. More volleyball. There was a volleyball sectional up at East Central as well. Now that featured some good volleyball teams. Bloomington South versus Columbus East on the screen in front of us here, Coach. And Columbus East Bailey Western really had a tremendous tournament. We're going to see here in this particular set of highlights, she's going to spike home 3 game-winning points in each of these 3 games as Columbus East moved on.
And she had a great season as well as the team. I think you're going to talk about how well they did in the conference, and and this is a good area for volleyball. A lot of good volleyball teams too.
Chuck, the next game was Bloomington North taking on East Central. Trojans on their home floor. And in this one, Bloomington North proved a little too strong for the Lady Trojans. Bloomington North won this one in 4 sets, ending the Lady Trojan season with a fine record of 22 wins and 12 losses. The Trojans ended up ranked 9th in Class 2A. And Chuck, you talked about the conference. East Central ran the table in the EIAC, a tough league. They went 14-0 in league play to take the EIAC championship. So we congratulate the East Central Trojans on an outstanding volleyball season. Chuck, that set up the championship game on your screen right now between Bloomington North 23-10 and Columbus East 26-11. Coach, it was the Columbus East Olympians coming out on top in this one in 3 games. Game 1, we saw Lily Costello's serve go long, and that gave the game to Columbus East. Here's more Bailey Western, Coach. She ended with a second game with a quick send back, and she's going to end game 3 with a spike. She's going to slam it home hard here coming up. And East moved on to the regional with their sectional championship. Look at that.
Can you check? That's powerful. I mean, man, I tell you what, I wouldn't want my face in front of that.
I would not want to be on the other end of a Bailey Western spike, that's for sure. And let's go on with Columbus East, because they went on Tuesday night in the regionals over to Center Grove, and they won. They won the regional, so Columbus East is now playing in the semi-state volleyball championship this Saturday. They'll be taking on Avon in game 1. Good luck to the Columbus East Olympians. And Chuck, you want to talk about an exciting thing going on this Saturday?
Real exciting, actually.
Absolutely. Let's talk about a potential state championship. Yes, that's right. The Lawrenceburg Lady Tigers soccer team. Here you see some still photos of the Lady Tigers. They're on the road heading to Indianapolis for the state championship, taking on Andrean this weekend, Chuck. That's because they won the semi-state on their home turf, and it is turf, as we all know.
Absolutely.
Their home turf against Heritage Christian last Saturday night.
I don't know if it's, it is turf. Yeah. Anyway, they beat a number 3 Heritage Christian and Ritter to get that far, and then were able to knock them off. Now Lawrenceburg is ranked 10th, and they're 16-3-1, I believe, on the year. They're going to get to play a state championship, as you mentioned, against Adrian, who is a very good team. They're ranked 7th, and I'll tell you what, that would be great to see a crowd go up and support that Tiger team. Lawrenceburg usually supports their teams pretty good, so I'm guessing that'll be the case.
It would be great, Chuck, and we want to wish Coach Dwayne Ullman and the Lawrenceburg Lady Tigers soccer team best of luck going for a state championship this Saturday. Go get them, ladies. Bring that championship back home to Southeast Indiana. That's segment number 1 here on the Sideline with Rob and Chuck. When we come back, we're going to turn it over to high school football. Yes, it's been sectional time here in Southeast Indiana for high school football. Chuck and I are going to talk about these high school football matchups right after this. You are watching the Sideline on the ETC Sports Network. We'll be back with more right after this.
I like that.
With a Rube Goldberg machine, opening an umbrella has never been so complicated. In a minimum of 20 steps and a maximum of 75, teams aim to open up an umbrella in fun and engaging ways. Using their hands-on skills, coupled with teamwork and creativity, teams from all over the nation compete to win real prizes. Participating in a Rube Goldberg machine contest is one way students learn about science, technology, engineering, and math. To form your own team, to register for a Rube Goldberg machine contest, or to learn more, visit rubegoldberg.com.
Family owned and operated for more than 75 years, Alex Shell has been a cornerstone of St. Leon, Indiana. Located at the intersection of State Road 1 and I-74, Alex welcomes Subway as its new neighbor. And their convenience store has the items you've come to expect. Hope to see you soon at Alex Shell in St. Leon.
With over 600 vehicles, Buy Right Auto is Southeast Indiana's used vehicle superstore. Our number one priority is offering you the best selection of high-value, high-quality vehicles in the area. Our commitment to community is what keeps our customers coming back for their second and third vehicles. Visit our website or take a tour of our lot. We look forward to meeting you.
Welcome back to the Sideline with Rob Moorhead and Chuck Thomas, the new high school sports show here on the ETC Sports Network. And Chuck, let's talk about something you actually know something about this time.
A lot of people argue about that.
We're going to talk a little high school football. It's sectional time here in Southeast Indiana. Football sectionals got underway last Friday night. Let's talk about Milan Indians. They are in Class 2A, Sectional 38. Coach Ryan Langford's Indians, Chuck, have had an outstanding season at 8-2, 5-0 in the Mid-Indiana Conference. Here's some highlights.
Absolutely, and you can see one reason why, and that's Blake Beck. He's done a great job this year. He's got over 2,000 yards or 2,600 yards of passing. He's got great receivers in both Minix and Allfield and several others. But it goes through Blake, what happens, okay? He does it all. He can run. Look at this pass, back of the end zone, 1 foot in. Oh, that's good. That you just don't draw it up any better than that. And the guy in the other guy's shaking his head and he's upset, but who cares?
And I think that was Zach Minnick that you were speaking of right there, Chuck, on an outstanding catch in the end zone. Milan beat Union County in Week 1 63-0 in the sectional. This Friday night, they're at home against Indianapolis Howe. That's a big matchup, Coach, as these two teams have some history.
This is the best team that they have played since they played Lawrenceburg. All right, they got lots of speed. They're up and down. I've seen them. They played really tough competition, 4A and 3A teams, and played them close. And then they've lost to some teams that don't seem they should have lost to. So I can't figure them out, but I know they're a dangerous team.
Well, tell me this. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think this game is going to be a tale of two offenses. I think you got two ball clubs that are going to put points on the board, so whoever's defense can step up maybe has the best advantage in this game, but I think it's going to be an outstanding contest. And Howe made a nice run in the tournament last year, if I'm not mistaken.
10-4 last year, and they went far in the tournament, got beat by Monrovia, who were the eventual Monrovia.
There you go, my friend. You got it.
Yes.
Give me some.
They need to change their name so I could pronounce it. Yeah, they were the eventual state champions. I watched them last year.
Yeah.
They had a nice team. And Hal stayed close to him. So, and you might be right, but I kind of think it's going to be the team that's really the best offense and score more points.
Okay.
See, I got a lot of insight in that.
I like that. I like a good offensive game. You know that. So, Chuck, we want to wish Ryan Langford and the Milan Indians good luck this week in the second round of the sectional. We hope we'll be talking about them next week going for a sectional championship.
Go Indians.
Absolutely. Let's kick it over now to Class 3A. Talk about Sectional 30, where we've got the Lawrenceburg Tigers and Coach Ryan Kaniga. This is a Tiger ball club that has had a good year, really behind the running of Austin Bowling. Coach Austin Bowling is number 1 in the country in touchdowns so far this year. You see some of their highlights right here. That's freshman Gavin Yoon with a touchdown reception there. Actually, it wasn't a touchdown, but a long pass from quarterback Reed Strobel. And talk a little bit about this Lawrenceburg ball club, Coach.
The U kid, I played golf with his dad. He was a heck of an athlete at Lawrenceburg, too. This is just a well-rounded team. They play really good defense. They play really good offense.
And if I can interrupt you, that's Austin Bowling getting one of those national leading touchdowns right there.
Absolutely. They can throw the ball. Strobel's very capable of throwing the ball. You've got good receivers. You have Paris. I think you're going to see him make an interception right here.
You got it. Mason Paris.
Yeah. Everybody knows he's a great wrestler. He's also he's a great football player. He's getting a lot of college interest already. But they do everything. They play offense. They play defense. Their special teams are good.
Well, he's a wrestling state champion, as you mentioned. And, Coach, got to see these two teams we've talked about here tonight, Lawrenceburg and Milan, early in the year. An absolute shootout, 68-34, Lawrenceburg on top of Milan. That was two outstanding offenses. And look at Bowling here, just shedding tackles against Batesville. He's a big young man, runs strong with the football, hard to bring down. This Lawrenceburg team's going to be a tough out in the sectional.
It's like trying to tackle a fire plug. I mean, he's strong, he's aggressive, got second effort, and he's got deceptive speed too. When he gets out, I haven't seen him got caught from behind. So they're going to be really good. They'll get through the sectional. Greensburg's the only thing that could possibly step in their way.
Well, we'll talk about Greensburg here in just a second, Coach, but want to mention Lawrenceburg beat Manual 68-6 in the first round of the sectional on Friday night. Chuck, talk about this matchup with Indian Creek. Not one Lawrenceburg wants to take lightly, but I think one that you think the Tigers have a pretty good shot at taking care of business.
Be real surprised if they got beat, but Indian Creek does have some very good receivers and a good quarterback. I don't think they can stop Lawrenceburg's offense, and I do like Lawrenceburg's defense. That game, 42-21, was really not that close. Indian Creek scored some at the end of the game. I think Lawrenceburg will take care of business, set up a conference championship sectional with Greensburg.
Well, there you go. Let's talk about Greensburg. They are in this Class 3A sectional 30. Greensburg beat their crosstown, but let's say down the street neighbor Batesville 40-14 on Friday night in the first round of the sectional. Greensburg comes into the ball game this week, 7 wins and 3 losses. Chuck, they're going to take on a Rushville team that, let's just be honest, they've struggled a little bit this year.
Yeah, they're in a rebuilding mode. Greensburg is going to win this game, probably 2-3 touchdowns. That's going to set up that match between Lawrenceburg and Greensburg. And the Trojans probably going to win that. But I can tell you this, Greensburg is very dangerous. They're very fast. It was 14-14 when they played Lawrenceburg the first time. Then they had some fumbles, and you can't do that against a good team, and it got out of hand. I think it'll be closer, but I think we'll talk more about it next week. But I think the Tigers come back and win the game.
Well, we'll talk about it indeed. So, again, sectionals ball games coming up in round 2 this week. Milan's going to be taking on Indianapolis Howe at Milan. It'll be Lawrenceburg on the road at Indian Creek, and it'll be Greensburg traveling to Rushville. We want to wish these 3 Southeast Indiana football teams the best of luck. Hopefully we're talking about 3 victories next week and next week's sectional championship matchups with all these 3 teams. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about an outstanding ball game that both Chuck Thomas and I were able to broadcast last week. It was East Central versus Shelbyville in round 1 of the sectional, and we're going to talk about where the Trojans go this week for round 2. Hey, we're having a great time here on the
that thing.
I'll do that thing again. Yeah, we're having a great time here on the sideline with Rob Moorhead and Chuck Thomas. We'll be back with more right after this on the ETC Sports Network.
On Target is Indiana's largest Polaris dealership. We carry a full line of Polaris ATVs, Rangers, and Slingshots. We also offer the best in Polaris maintenance with full-time certified Polaris mechanics. We have a great indoor showroom and space available outside to test drive. Come and visit us today.
Power & Tel is a premier wholesale distributor to the global communications marketplace. With a focus on quality and cost effectiveness, we are your source for communications products and inventory management solutions. Visit us at ptsupply.com.
We're back at Skyline to see what it is that makes people feel so good.
So what's brought you to Skyline today? The Conies, it looks
obviously the Conies. I love Conies.
You feel like you know everyone when you walk in the door.
This is a place friendships are made, great food, great service, great people.
Anytime you ask the kids, where do you guys want to eat at Skyline?
It's delicious. The cheese melts in your mouth.
Anytime that I don't have to cook, that's always a good thing.
You never have a bad meal at Skyline, ever.
Feeling good. It's Skyline time.
Attention race fans, it's time for racing at Lawrenceburg Speedway. Feel the ground tremble and hear the roar as sprint cars reach up to 120 miles per hour down the front stretch. It's time to make a visit to the Bird. Side-by-side racing action every weekend at the world-renowned Lawrenceburg Speedway. Call 812-539-4700 or check out lawrenceburgspeedway.com. Good times, great racing, fun for the whole family. Only at Lawrenceburg Speedway. Be there.
Welcome back to the Sideline with Rob Moorhead and Chuck Thomas for our final segment tonight. Chuck, we talked about it before we left. It's time to talk a little East Central versus Franklin County. We are talking about Class 4A, Sectional 23. Let's start with the Franklin County Wildcats. Under the direction of Coach Kurt Kennedy, they come into this ball game 7-3. They had a big win last week in round 1 of the sectional over South Dearborn, and now Franklin County get ready to take on East Central. Chuck, talk about this Franklin County ball club.
Well, they're a dual threat. They can throw and run. Haggerty can run. They have several receivers. Here you see them against Batesville. They play good defense. Kennedy wants to run the ball, though. That's what he wants to run. Haggerty running. He was hurt, but now he's healthy. Here you see him going along, Haggerty going.
That's a good-looking run right there, Coach.
But you see the blocking. They got a nice offensive line, too. They block well. Now they got Orschel back. Orschel's a fine running back.
Yeah.
He's like I think he's got more points than anybody in the conference, as a matter of fact.
So that's Franklin County. Now let's go to the other side of this. A ball game Chuck and I got to do both last week in round 1 of the sectional. That's East Central versus Shelbyville. And we went into this game knowing you had a tale of two offenses here. You've got the Shelbyville Golden Bears, who are a pure passing team. They have an outstanding quarterback who likes to put the ball up in the air. Then again, Chuck, you go to the other side of the ball with East Central. They only passed it 2 times all night, but there's a good reason for that.
Yeah, that East Central doing what they do best, and that's rushing the football. They can pass, but if they're going to run the ball like they did, their offensive line, they got some people back in their offensive line. They were injured early. You got Mesmore. Here's Story.
Talk about this cat, Chuck. Logan Story's had a heck of a year.
Over 1,200 yards of rushing. He came in when Mesmore went down, and now they have them both back. I don't think Mesmore is 100%, but I want to tell you something. That kid can shake and bake. He can make it happen from anywhere on the field.
Let's not forget about the sophomore quarterback, Alex Maxwell. Has done a nice job running this offense this year for this ball club. He's one of those guys who's a smart kid. He knows how to read defenses, and he's able to get the football into the hands of the right person at the right time. And, Chuck, they had a couple of outstanding plays last week off the option, some fakes, some misdirection. Really, I like to think East Central's just going to line up and try to outnumber you at the line of scrimmage, let their big guys open the holes.
That's exactly what they do.
You mean I got something right about football?
Well, yeah, but you were there, and if you didn't figure out that they ran the ball for 482 yards, I would be disappointed in you. But I think you're doing better. Yeah, they're going to run the ball. They're going to come right at you. And you're right about the quarterback, Maxwell. First of all, his own man would beat him to death if he doesn't right, okay? Because, he played, and, he's a star.
Right. Now, bring it on. Let me clean that up now. We're talking about Randy Maxwell. He's the offensive coordinator for East Central. It's his son, Alex. And Chuck and I know Randy. He's a fine young man. In fact, we were coaching basketball together when Randy was making some shots for East Central back in the day.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I didn't
like you back
All right, well, we digress.
Yes, but you are exactly right. Maxwell, as a sophomore, has become so proficient at riding that guy on that option.
Yeah.
And he's just takes and that one time, the whole press box where I was at thought the guy had been tackled, and all of a sudden they look up, and there goes Maxwell down the sideline, and there's not anybody within 30 yards of him.
So, Chuck, that sets up tonight's matchup between Franklin County and East Central. Franklin County 7-3, East Central 8-2. This game will be at East Central. You can see it here on the ETC Sports Network. And, Chuck, these two teams met back on September 9th. It was a 44-24 win for East Central. We're going to see some highlights of that game, Chuck, while you tell us your thoughts about tonight's matchup.
Well, I think it's going to be a little better game. One of the things that Franklin County has not done well is stop the long play. Time and time again, they've given it up. In this game, if you remember, there were one 85-yard run, one 65-yard run, and you're liable to have that again. Franklin County can score, they can run the ball, they can pass the ball, so they're going to score some points, even though East Central's defense is about better. But here we see a play.
To Jaden Williamson.
The big fullback. I love this. The big fullback. Is he getting tired? Oh, come on.
He's lumbering.
He wasn't going to stop. He was going to get in that end zone.
But I'm glad we got to see that, because Williamson, we probably don't talk enough about him because he's a tremendous blocker, too, up front. And there was a little rollout where Maxwell found him. And here he's opening a hole. Williamson opens that hole for Story, and Story does the rest with his legs.
He's got good vision. Him and Mesmore both. They follow their blockers. They don't rush it. They're able to find creases and make big yardage.
Franklin County, we're going to see them going to put the ball in the end zone. Chuck, I like to call this the jet sweep. I think you've taught me that over the years.
Yep.
Around the corner into the end zone goes the Franklin County running back, and East Central hopes they don't see a lot of that in tonight's ball game. But really, that's one of those situations where the matchup is going to be good from the get-go tonight. We think that, I got to say, I think East Central's the favorite here, Chuck. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Absolutely.
Especially playing at home. I think it's probably East Central's ball game to lose. But Kurt Kennedy does a nice job. Not to say that Justin Roden doesn't, because Roden took these guys all the way to the state championship game last year. Kurt Kennedy has some postseason success under his belt as well.
When he was
so I think
Lowell.
I think we're going to have a good opportunity for an outstanding game.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Be fun to watch that game, and they'll be able to watch it here a lot if they want to watch it over and over again.
No doubt. We want you to tell everyone that ball game is right here on the ETC Sports Network tonight. East Central taking on Franklin County in round 2 of the sectional. The winner will go to the sectional championship game next week. Chuck, I believe we have the first show
We got it done.
of the Sideline under our belts at this point, and I gotta say it's been a lot of fun.
I've enjoyed it. I don't know if they'll have us back, but it's been a lot of fun on our part.
Well, if it's only one and done, so be it. We've had a great time,
That's right.
we hope you've had a great time watching it out there as well. We want to thank Mike Fletterman. We want to thank Aaron Black. We want to thank Spencer Powell, all the guys at ETC for making this show sponsor, and nothing we do at ETC would work without our fine sponsors. So we appreciate our sponsors for bringing us to you on the air tonight, and we're looking forward to tonight's ball game between East Central and Franklin County. So we're going to wrap it up for this edition of the Sideline with Rob and Chuck. Please tell your friends. Check us out here on the ETC Sports Network. They're going to have fun because we're going to have fun. So as always, on our sign-off tonight, for Rob Moorhead, here comes Chuck Thomas saying,
So long, everybody.